Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And Sam and I are very happy to have a special guest with us. And Sam, would you like to introduce him?
Steve Degroat, the head wrestling coach. We've had him on here, and I always like it when he comes because he's full of information.
Oh, thank you.
He's not going to wrestle us, is he?
Well, he could whoop both of us.
Probably
together.
with one hand
we could be
tied
a tag
behind his
team, and he'd still take us down.
Well, you guys are safe today. I didn't stretch out, so
Okay.
I'm probably not going to wrestle today.
Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And would you mind if we talk a little bit of basketball for a minute?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I understand basketball. It's
Sam,
part of
a
the
great
season.
Saturday night at Connorsville for the Spartans.
Saturday night we were at Batesville.
That's right. It was a away
and
game.
The girls were here.
Yeah, so they were successful.
They were successful. It was a great weekend for
Spartan Sports. Yes.
The boys JV team won. Can't remember the score. I really can't remember the score. I think the varsity was 50-46.
Yes, it was a 4-point win.
But a terrific game, and a game that they really needed because they'd only won 3 games before that. So, talking with Coach afterwards, I believe that this should be a real confidence booster for.
I would think it would be
the
a
young
confidence
guys.
booster, yes.
And just seemed like they were playing together and were in tune with each other.
It was a team victory, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes.
So I think everybody's feeling better now, although Blaine Hornsby had been out ill earlier in the week and had re-injured his shoulder at Noblesville the week before. So after that Noblesville game, they needed a game like this. And Batesville was leading the conference. They were undefeated in the conference.
Yes.
So Connorsville now has improved to 3-1 in the
3-1, right?
And
We're
right in the hunt
Greensburg
for another conference championship.
That's right. Sure. That would be great to pull that off again.
Then the girls, I was trying to monitor that. They were playing at the bowl against Rushville, and I always love it when they beat Rushville. And what I was told, we got down a little bit, but we came back and won that one by 10. So great victory for the Lady Spartans, and the JV girls won as well. So
47-37 was the final, and then we've got one ball game to go for the girls.
For the girls, that's Thursday night, another
Central.
conference game, East Central. So looking forward to that. Wow, that season's gone fast, but I think that Lady Spartans have come a long way this year.
The pairings have been made, sectional pairings.
Yes.
They drew a bye. Don't play until Friday night of the semifinals. It opens on Tuesday, the sectional at Lawrenceburg.
Lawrenceburg. Quite a trip down there.
But the Lady Spartans are idle until Friday night, and they will play the winner of the first ball game, which is between
South Dearborn and Batesville.
Yes. That winner will advance to the semifinals with the Lady Spartans. So, Steve, I know we're hoping the Lady Spartans do well.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do too. I've watched a few of the games. Been down to the bowl this year and got to watch a few of them. My daughter cheers, and so I get to watch a few of the girls' games.
A vast improvement over recent records by the girls.
Oh, definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
they've turned the page.
And they're playing good together. They play like a team. They got a connection there. I can see it on the field, on the court. They get along really good.
They're very young, too.
Yeah, so that's always a good thing, too.
Back to the boys at Spartan game, we have some highlights from that game. TV3 was there, so let's right now view those highlights of the Batesville-Connorsville basketball game.
Of course, Justin was set up right next to us, up high, and doing a great job as always. And there's Spartans getting off a little bit of a slow start there, but they came back, and Hunter Allen laying it in. Hunter had a great game, and Coach shook up his lineup a little bit, and it paid off. And he's mixed it up quite a bit. There was a three-pointer from the corner, and seemed like once we got clicking, we did pretty well.
Early threes help a lot.
Early threes do, and there was another one that just went down. So Peterson with a 3. So, and they were spreading around. Cloyd had, I think, the most threes. There's Blaine Hornsby going in with that heavily braced shoulder, and he got the 3-point play the old-fashioned way that time. So Spartans just hanging around. It was an exciting game all night, but I just, Fran, you've called a lot of games, and sometimes you can just feel it that
Yes.
that you know that
Yes.
that barring anything crazy that we're going to do all right. Excellent ball movement there on that play to Peterson. That was the thing that I saw on Saturday night too, was the unselfishness and making those crisp passes. That now coach will tell you we had too many turnovers, but every coach will tell you that.
It keeps them up at night, I think.
I
Turnovers.
I think it does. I really do. But here's the play of the game right here, where Xander McHenry stole the inbound pass and laid it in to break the tie, and ended up winning that one 50-46, and a big conference victory. And the Spartan crowd that was there was pretty appreciative of that.
They were happy and
Yeah.
noisy too.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what
And the
they
kids
did.
appreciate that. Don't they, Steve? The athletes really appreciate backing.
Oh, they love it. They
Yes.
love it. We had the student body come out one time for the wrestling meet this year, and our wrestlers don't usually see a student cheer section, and it was great. It was great. So I know they love it at the basketball game. You know, and they're loud. We have. I wouldn't want to come to the bowl and play basketball. It's loud in that corner, the bowl, and there's always 50 to 100 kids there, young students, and
Yes.
it's a great thing to say for Connersville that I don't think I've ever been here in Connersville that we haven't had that group of numbers. I was here Matt Howard days, you know, and
Yes.
the crowd, you know, just the students. It was always great, and I thought, wow, this is great. But it's been like that every year, you know. So I'm glad the students come out and support them. They're their fellow students, you know, and they do. The athletes love it. They get pumped up by it, you know. And I walk through the schools once in a while, and up here at the high school, and it's always, hey man, and some of the younger people saying hi to the basketball players. Hey, good game, and that. As an athlete, I know that makes you pretty happy.
I'll bet.
You
Sure,
know,
sure. Right.
So,
Well, as Sam said, we hope this was a confidence builder for the kids because they got some tough games coming up.
yeah. I think, Batesville, they had 9 wins already, didn't they, so far this season?
Yes.
That was a
They
good
were
win
9-3.
Yeah, 9-3, and that was a good win. We were 3-12, was it?
3-12.
Yeah.
So we
They
improved to
broke a
4-12.
9-game losing streak, I believe. So
Yeah,
that was. I hope it continues this weekend. We've got some tough games coming up.
Yeah. They have a pretty good tough schedule. You know, they play Noblesville and stuff like that. You know, those teams. You know, we could stay in the area and play all small teams, but you go up to Indy towards Noblesville and start playing those teams. You expect a lot better competition.
Well, you learn something from playing tough teams, don't you?
Oh, you do. It's the same in the wrestling. You know, you wrestle kids who are not ranked. You know, you don't learn much. You go in there and get beat by somebody who's ranked in the state, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot.
right.
Then when you beat that person
when you beat them,
then you've done something.
yep, and that confidence builder is just pretty big. So
Steve, tell us about your team. How are the wrestlers doing?
we're doing pretty good. We've had a lot of injuries ourselves this year. You know, I seen that shoulder brace, and I have 2 wrestlers with shoulder braces right now,
Okay.
Jamel Carter and Eric Fox. You know, and they had a bad turn at conference 2 weeks ago. They went in there and they both fought through injuries, but they couldn't make it to the end of the day. And they're 2 young men that will probably show up this weekend and upset somebody, because I think they both had potential to be sectional champions, and they both had potential to be conference champions. But with that injuries, you know, you just can't make it through there. We have a few seniors on the team this year, 5 of them, and I'm just trying to have a good finish off the season strong for them.
Sure.
You know, and we've been injury all year long. I don't think I've had a full varsity squad all year, all 14 that I expected in the beginning of the season. So it's hurt us. You know, we're still. I think we're 12-9 on the season right now.
Good.
So we still have, you know, some good wins this year, but you know, I think if we'd had everybody, we could probably been about 14 and 7, or something somewhere like that. But
well, that's great. That's a good record, though.
That's very respectable.
It is.
About 500.
Yes, and I'm happy with it. And I have a lot of freshmen on the team this year and sophomores.
Good.
So, like I said, we have 5 seniors, 2 juniors, and the rest are either freshmen or sophomore, underclassmen. So, a lot of potential for the wrestling team. I'm real happy to be part of this crew. They keep me motivated. I motivate them probably a few hours of practice a day, but on the weekends they all motivate me, and you hear the young conversations going along, and we have a good time. 2 weeks ago we had a conference champion, Levi Degroat. He came out and he beat somebody that beat him earlier in the season. That was one of his 2 losses, the boy from Batesville, and Levi came back, and it was a different match. Levi wasn't sick that week, and he went and he took it right to him. And we pinned him in the last period of the match, and that was a big confidence builder for Levi too. Just to go in there and beat him, and then and it kind of puts him on track for state tournament. I think we have potential of Levi going to state this year. Now, Gavin Lemon was another guy that we had a big potential going to state this year, and he got injured and made it first round of conference, and then we pulled him for the rest of the season. He still has some injury, and he's working through it. So, I lose 3 guys out of my top 5 that I think is going to make it. My day's not going to be too good at conference. We finished 6th out of conference. Out of 8 teams, and wasn't real happy with that. Franklin County finished first, and you know how we all feel about Franklin County. And in the wrestling world, you're happy they did it over another team, but you're still like, man, Franklin County could do it, and that's my motivation to say I'm going to do it next year. I have the people to do it. Franklin County had a good summer workout program. They must have worked a lot this summer, and it really showed. It really showed. Justin and Mr. Dieter's down there. They're doing a good job with that team this year. So it motivates me, and it gets me feeling stronger. And this week we had a good workout last week, and then we're going to have a good work this weekend, and we'll be down at sectionals at South Dearborn on a Saturday. So, wrestling's a different sport, than like any other sport. You can win one day and lose the next, but wrestling's one of those things. You could go against a stronger wrestler, and that one mistake, if you can cause him to make one mistake, you can capitalize on it, and you can win the match. One mistake in a football game or a basketball game, you can kind of recover a little bit. You make one mistake, you get down by 2 points, 3 points, the match, it could be over. Because especially as we head to the finals, we have semi-state coming up and regionals, and that's higher caliber kids, and it's usually not pins or falls that somebody's winning by. They're winning by a point or 2. Because you got the same caliber kid, athlete on both sides of the mat, and it's tough. One mistake is what wins the match. I always tell people we got to make them make one mistake, and we can't make any. So
is the sectional, the teams in the sectional, similar to the conference?
They are all the same as our conference, but then we add Milan and Union County. So there are only 2 new teams, so we have 10 teams instead of 8. So most likely there's a boy from Jesus from Union County. He should win the sectional title this year, and there's 2 kids from Milan. So it's going to mix things up a little bit, where Franklin County might have won that one, or East Central or Batesville or us. They may mix that up. I think we stand a good chance of definitely walking away with one really good chance of sectional champion, but I really think we could still walk away with 3, maybe more. If everybody has a good day, and like I say, it's tough. We have Wesley Wise, who's a great wrestler. He's wrestling for us, and he's that one mistake's caused every time, and it costs him a match. And he's one of those guys who takes it to heart, and I love him, and I'm glad he takes it to heart, and he gets eaten up by it, and then the rest of his day is affected a little bit because of it. But he could go and he could upset some people. I've watched him wrestle some days, and he doesn't lose, and he's just in a perfect spot. And if he brings that person out this weekend, we could be surprised. I think a lot of other teams will be surprised by his ability. And so I'm hoping that it all works out. You just don't know.
Yes.
It's a long bus drive down to South Dearborn early in the morning. We start wrestling at 9 o'clock, and so it all depends who wakes up and how they feel, and if the bus is warm on the way down early in the morning. So a lot of little factors that you know, and if they've had a good week of practice. If I keep them motivated and keep them rolling pretty good and keep practice short, but we just keep it a hard, intense practice, I think they wrestle much more intense on the weekends.
And a good night's rest on Friday night.
Oh, that always helps, but they're young people, so it's always
That's
hard to
do.
Last conference, I told them all to be home by 9. I said, get in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. I said, and of course, everybody has the internet now, and we have a Team Reach, and they're still pinging each other at 11 o'clock on Team Reach, talking about the next day's events.
It's hard to go to sleep when you got that coming. I mean,
it is, and so
I would think a good breakfast would be in order as well.
Well, we try not to feed them before they weigh in. Every wrestling meet you weigh in before, and you have to be on weight. So some of those guys, they keep that weight right there maintained all season long.
Good.
Jamel Carter, he's one of those guys at 57, and he's weighing in at 155 every time. You don't want to be too light, but then again, you don't want to be heavy a good breakfast would probably put them over that line.
I guess after it's over, they can get a good meal.
Yeah, they can. Usually, they all pack a good cooler and they eat a good meal. But I do have a few guys that have some room they can eat.
Those kinds of things teach us discipline. That you talk about him maintaining that weight. I mean, that takes a lot of self-discipline to do those things.
It does. It does. When a lot of other young athletes, the basketball players, they go out and they're not weighing in each week, and they go out and they work just as hard or even harder than the 6 minutes of wrestling is. And, the wrestlers, it's all by weight, it's just the way it is. And that Friday night after the game, they go out, have pizza down at, the local pizzeria and everything. And then before you know it, the wrestlers, Saturday, they're thinking, man, I got to wrestle next week. I can't do any extras this week, So they think, well, I got to maintain weight. But you're right, discipline, and that's a good something to have good in your life. I mean, we know as we all got older, our stomachs started sticking out a little further, and you got to maintain that. Ice cream would be good every night, but I know I only eat it once a week because I try not to overindulge, and if I did, I'd probably be maybe another 50 pounds heavier. So that discipline will help them later in life.
Yes, it will.
Who helped you coach, Steve?
John Lemon's my assistant coach this year. He was my assistant coach last year. He does a great job. He does a lot of the technique coaching right on the mat. He handles all that technique coaching and teaching different moves. And then I'm the louder voice of the two. So sometimes when practice is getting a little rowdy, I'll step in there and speak up, and I work them a little harder. I have less sympathy than John does. I think he feels a good 30-minute workout is great, and I'm thinking, well, we can go another 10 minutes. We're gonna make him sweat for another 10 minutes. So we make a good team. We really do. He reminds me of things. He gives me a daily call. Hey, Coach, think about this, think about that, and then I'll say, hey, John, maybe we can work this in a practice tonight. Maybe we can work a little duck under or something, and we're a pretty good team, and that's pretty good. John course, he was a high school wrestler from here, from Connersville. So it's nice to see people coming back too. You know, John's coaching, and here he wrestled under Dan Jones for a while. So so he, you know, it's good to see that come back. I really.
You have a good program in the middle school.
Oh, we do. Our numbers are a little down this year, but we're still in great numbers compared to most middle schools around us.
Yes.
You know, I always like to see 40, and we got 30. You know, so but that's any head coach, I think, wants to see more in their feeder program than anything, and they're doing pretty good. Middle schoolers, Kevin just started last week. They won one at home and lost one at home. And they went down to Greensburg, which is probably the toughest tournament they're going to see this year. And they had a tough time down there. But, you know, Kevin's one of those motivated guys. He calls me up and he says, Coach, we went 0-4 on the day. And I said, oh, man, that's tough. He goes, yeah, but I'm going to tell you right now. And he starts talking about match after match, how his young people did good. And I said, Kevin, I said, that's great. I said, those schools you wrestled, those kids have been wrestling since they were third graders. I said, our kids have been wrestling for 1 month, a lot of our people, you know. So I said, you've done a great job. You know, and then it's not always just coaching the young kids. It's always our athletes. It's coaching the coaches too. You know, you got to keep them motivated and
Be patient.
Yeah. Yes, it is. You got to be patient with them. And we got a great youth coach, Ben Gossett. I was with the youth yesterday up in Eaton, Ohio. We were, and our youth looked a lot better than all the other youths. The other youths, they were very timid. They didn't want to get out there and wrestle, making a lot of small, like locking hands, little mistakes that would be violations in wrestling. And Ben's guys weren't doing that. You know, the young kids were doing good, and for where I was sitting, I helped with the table. I tried to go out and help the youth program a little bit, and I'm keeping score at a table where I could see all the mats, and I just see our young people, their arms getting raised up one after another, and I'm thinking, this is a good day. This is a good day. I know of 3 first place kids on my mat alone, so. Like I say, so I think we have a good program in place, and I think it's growing. You know, we have some other things we need to grow on. The girls program, we really need to work on the girls program. It's something that we can't overlook any longer. Myself and Coach Lemon are really going to have to do something about that.
Yes.
A lot of other schools are getting 5, 6 girls on a team. We've had 3 this year, and we sure would like to make an all-girls team. That would be a good thing for Connersville. Be one of the first in our area to have a girls team. So and they're exciting, you know. And girls wrestling is booming right now in the collegiate wrestling world. It's growing bigger and bigger and bigger. I would say probably over every other sport right now. You know, yeah, because you always think cross country girls. Track, there's always been girls and guys track.
Yes.
Girls and guys basketball. It'd be like if they started an all-girls football team. It would start slow, but then after a while it would boom because there would be a lot of opportunity for young women to go to college. Well, that's the way wrestling is right now. There's a lot of opportunity for these young women who can compete. And we have a state tournament now. We have regional tournaments now for the girls. So the state's doing a great job, I think, building up our program too.
Is it sanctioned by the HSAA yet?
Yes, it is.
Is it? Okay.
It is. They're sanctioning it, and they have a girls' state, and they had the early season.
So schools need to get on board. Get in with it.
Yeah, we do. And like I say, we have 3 girls on the team, and I'll tell you right now, I think the opportunity would be good right now in Connersville. We have a great softball team. The girls have done good last year, and I know they look. I watch them in their early season workouts. They look good this year again. The soccer team, you know, we have plenty of girls out there, and only a small amount of them are cheering and playing basketball. So there's a lot of girls to scoop into that wrestling program.
Yes.
And I know our swimming program, I wish we could see probably another 20 girls join that team, you know.
Yeah, they're pretty thin.
Yeah, they're pretty thin this year, and I think they'll work and they'll get that building program back up, and I think they'll be full. I know that we went in the pool one day last week and worked with the swimmers. Coach, he worked our team pretty good, the wrestling team, and they were all worn out within 15 minutes. My wrestlers were. They were like, man, this is tougher than it looks. And I said, I told you we were having a workout today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Here's a schedule of Spartan sports this week. On Monday, the freshman EIAC basketball tourney continues with round 2. And I understand that the freshmen are still alive. They won on Saturday with a 26-24 win. So they're in the tourney at 7:30 tonight. Best luck to those kids. On Tuesday, the middle school wrestling will be at Batesville at 5:30. On Wednesday, the freshman EIAC basketball tourney continues. Thursday, the Lady Spartan basketball will be home with East Central at 6 and 7:30 for the varsity or the JV and varsity games. Middle school boys red basketball will be home with New Powell at 6 o'clock. Gymnastics will be home with Muncie Central at 6:30. On freshman JV and varsity home with Mount Vernon at 6 and 7:30 for high school basketball. On Saturday is wrestling sectional at 9 o'clock in the morning. JV and varsity basketball home with Jennings County at 6 and 7:30 on Saturday night. So that's a big event coming up here. In the right now conference standings, East Central is 2-0. Greensburg is 3-1, along with the Spartans, 3-1. Lawrenceburg is 2-1. Batesville is 2-1. South Dearborn is 1-2. Franklin County 1-4. And Rushville is 0-4 in the EIAC tourney. So Spartans still in there, Sam?
Yes, they are. Yeah, I was just thinking Saturday night at the bowl when we have Jennings County there. I know in years past your wrestlers have come home with victories, and they're recognized at halftime many times at the bowl. So I hope several of them are recognized.
I hope so. I'll keep Ms. Van Meter in contact when we're coming back. I hope so.
Well, Steve, the kids are doing a good job, and I know we wish them the best in the coming up tournament. And
Thank you.
You think they'll do pretty well?
I think they will. I think we will. I think we're gonna we got fighters on our team.
Sure.
We have fighters on our team. Like I said, Wesley Wise, Dylan Steele's a young sophomore, and he's gonna fight tough.
Are you involved in the Spartan Classic during the holidays?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I don't know if I was here before the Classic.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, we had one. We
Yes.
had a few guys. They did pretty good. Made it to day 2.
Good.
To make it to day 2 in the Classic's pretty tough. Again, Jamel Carter went undefeated the first day, and then came back in the second day.
It's quite an event. Connersville's been doing that for years.
It is. 50 years. This was 50 years this year.
No foot that long.
50 years. So.
And there's always between the holidays at Spartan Bowl, and well attended. Schools wait to get on that, don't they?
Oh, they do. It's a waiting list. 32 teams. They talked about adding 2 mats next year. We're going to put them in a middle school arena, so the wrestling will even go a little quicker. And they're thinking about some other teams. So it may be more than 32 teams next year. It would be great.
It's good for the community.
And we had a champion this year out of the Classic, Levi Degroat.
It's your boy?
Yes, it is. It is.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He did all the work. I just sat there and watched the event. But
You're on the sidelines holding your breath, huh?
Yeah. He wrestled a kid at the last of the tournament that outweighed him, out tall. My boy's 6'4", so this kid was a little taller than him. Yeah. So he was a little taller than Levi, and before you know it, it was a battle to the end, and Levi came victorious. So, like I say, and that boy was ranked 18th in the state. So
good for him.
It was a good win, and that was his confidence builder. I think he needed to finish the season
Steve,
off.
keep up the good work with wrestlers.
Oh, I will, sir.
And we'll have some Spartans in these finals one of these days, and who knows?
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be. One day we're going to see a lot of Spartans in the finals.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody, for watching tonight, this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. And we'll be back next week with another show. Thanks again for joining us. Have a nice evening.